Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are talking about my favorite topic ever, Arena. I guess this was a bad time to do this, or maybe the perfect time. So today we're talking about Arena team compositions and what you should be looking out for if you want to do well in Arena. So most of this advice is just going to be personal opinion, but also some experience thrown in, but anecdotal, so take it with a grain of salt, of course, and only follow what makes sense to you as well. So in my experience, there are two very important things to do well in Arena. Number one is being fast, and number two is being strong. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks guys, as always, for watching. So anyway, let's start with being fast. How do you be fast? Obviously, having a lot of speed helps. My Shadow Rose has 217 here because it's very important for her to be the fastest. Because another incredibly important thing in Arena is combat readiness manipulation, which Shadow Rose does have. She increases our teams by 25 and decreases the enemies by 25%. This means that even if the rest of my team is a little bit on the slower side, this will mostly get them to the front so that they can attack as well. So having a combat readiness manipulator for an offensive team is incredibly important. You could just try and brute force it and have all DPS with all plus 210 speed or whatever you need to be the fastest. That could work, but I think it's just a lot easier to have one super fast combat readiness manipulator. There are a lot of free ones as well, and honestly, Shadow Rose isn't even that good of a combat readiness manipulator due to her base speed, which is pretty low. Shuri, for example, has a base speed of 110, which is way faster than Shadow Rose, and he can also increase the entire team's combat readiness, except for himself, by up to 25% when that is skill enhanced. We also have Judith here with a base speed of 117. It says 113, but she gets 4 more speed on her 4th awakening. This is why some people get her up to 40 and leave her there just to get that extra 4 speed. Probably one of the, if not the fastest combat readiness manipulators in the game, and she's a fire 3-star, so everyone should have her or easily obtain her. 30% combat readiness increase for all of your allies on her 3rd skill. She is absolutely incredible, and if you want to do well in Arena and don't have a Shadow Rose or something, hell, I might raise her at least to 40, give her some crazy speed gear, and start taking her instead of Shadow Rose, to be honest. 30% combat readiness, it's just insane. I kind of don't want to share this because then I'm going to be running into Judith all over the place, but yeah. So, having a combat readiness manipulator is the first step to having a really good team, and I'm only really going over one type of offensive Arena team, and that is, I believe, what people refer to as a Cleave Team. So it's just all offense. You have one to boost up the rest of your allies, and then the rest are just going to destroy everyone. So after you have a combat readiness manipulator and all that speed on them, next you want the killers. So this is obviously just going to be your DPS. Luna, for example, here is a DPS. If you happen to have a Bellona, she would probably be the best ever because she has AoE and defense break. But when you're going to have Bellona, you probably want some other AoEs as well, but it's not super necessary. The sort of point to this team is to get rid of all the dangerous ones before the dangerous ones have a chance to do anything. So you would want Judith built with tons of speed, which shouldn't be super hard since she has so much base speed already. Use her ult. The other 3 units, if they have enough damage, will take out all the dangerous ones on the other side. So any of the damage dealers, etc, etc. Outside of that, it doesn't matter. If you can kill the dangerous ones on the other side before they have a chance to act, you win, pretty much. That's been my experience, at least. However, if they also have a super fast combat readiness manipulator, then it could just be up to RNG, which has been my experience. The only problem with this team is it is very hit or miss. You know, a lot of people on defense, so in Arena defense, the ones you're actually going to be fighting, they tend to go with more bruisery type units. So ones that can deal still a good amount of damage, but also can take a good amount of damage. So you may find yourself struggling to kill the 2 or 3 dangerous units that can deal damage to you and kill you, which means in order for this type of team to work, you need your DPS to be very, very good. The main thing I like about this team is the arena battles don't tend to last forever. I've also tried attacking with a more defensive team, so like one with a healer in there, maybe an Arius on a tank, so like I would take to PvE. And it is safer, I would say, and maybe a slightly higher percentage of battles you might win. That'll depend on your units, of course, but they're so slow. and so boring when they take 10 minutes each, because you're just kind of like fighting with all their healers and you don't really have enough damage or buffs or defense breaks or whatever to just get in there and either die or kill. So my main arena team as of the moment is Shermia, Luna, Lidica, and Shadow Rose. These three are all single target DPS, which is a little bit annoying. I would like to have some AoE in there, to be honest. Bellona would be amazing. If I ever pull her, she is instantly getting 6-starred. Because if you make Bellona the fastest of your 3 DPS, you can get AoE defense break and also some decent damage on the enemies, and then your 2 single targets or whatever can finish them off. I have Lidica in there alongside Shadow Rose. They are both super speedy. Lidica actually has a little bit more speed than Shadow Rose. It's obviously just easier to get more speed on Lidica. And that is because in Arena, there is a little bit of an RNG factor at the beginning. You can have plus or minus 10 entire speed on every one of your heroes. So if you're lucky, Shadow Rose will actually have 227, and if you're unlucky, she'll actually have 207. Whereas the opponents is the same thing. An enemy with 200 speed could have 190 or 210. So it's kind of nice to have 2 super speedy units so that there's less chance for RNG to screw me over. But yeah, I mean, with Judith being a thing, and if I were to give Judith the same gear as my Shadow Rose has, she would probably be 240 speed or so. You know, it's freaking crazy. I honestly kind of hope they either nerf her now or not nerf her after I build her. The thing is, she won't be doing anything else. I mean, she can stun if she's stealthed, and she can stealth if she gets hit, but if she gets hit, she's dead. If you're gonna build her just for purely PvP purposes, because you don't need to get her beyond 4-star 40, for that extra 4 speed in there, and then just speed gear from there. With her though, you would definitely need to have the rest of your units somewhat speedy as well, so you can't just like completely ignore speed on all of your others just because you get a 20 to 30% combat readiness increase. You can definitely slack a little bit on speed, but like for example, my Shermia here has 134, which is a little low, actually very low for Arena, and there are definitely often times where that's not enough speed even after Shadow Rose casts her ultimate, which not only increases ours by 25 but decreases theirs by 25. So if anyone resists the decreased combat readiness, then Shermia most of the time will not be going before one of the enemies does. On the topic of damage and the fact that the enemies typically go with beefier units, there are some special units like Moonlight Shuri, for example, that penetrates their defense. He does 100% defense penetration, someone like Shermia does 50%. Shermia can usually do enough to one-shot as well, especially since she is the slowest of all my units. She can use her second skill, and that'll give us enough souls to burn her ult, which pretty much guarantees someone's dying. But yeah, moral of the story is, if you want to be good in Arena, raise Judith. Shadow Rose is good for a lot of things. She has a 100% defense break on her second skill. You know, she's really nice, but Judith absolutely crushes her when it comes to Arena. And I think that's something I'll make a dedicated video on a little bit later once I actually do get around to raising her. Unfortunately, now that the free gear removal is gone, that's going to be expensive to play with that and mess around with it, but maybe worth it, could be fun. Tell me in the comments below if you would like to see that. Another thing to consider, that with someone like Shuri, while he does have a lower base speed, he can actually get more speed via his enhance. So if you happen to have a ton of Shuris, Shuri will actually get more speed starting at A rank. It's just that his combat readiness will be lower on one hand, but on the other hand, it is potentially with every single attack that he will get this combat readiness. So if you get him with Rosa Hargana and he happens to do a dual attack, you know, that can pop off some nice combat readiness pretty quickly. So while someone like Shadow Rose is pretty scary in Arena, I actually fear Shuri's more. I actually don't see too many Judiths right now, but I'm only in, I think, Challenger. So maybe those up in Legends or whatever is after Challenger, Champion, whatever it is, I can't even see right now because it's closed. But maybe they have figured out how awesome Judith can be, or maybe I'm completely wrong, you know? I mean, it's all there on paper, but who knows what that actually translates to in a real game. But again, I'll probably make a video on that and raise her to 40, check her out, see what she's capable of, give her Shadow Rose's gear. And we'll see. No, why do I always land on you, Cerelia? I really don't know, okay? But yeah, that's pretty much my stance on Arena and what I would consider to be the best sort of arena team. It might be a little bit more on the risky RNG side, but at least it's fast. And an outcome is usually determined pretty quickly one way or the other. Also, this lady, if you happen to have her, just go ahead and do it. I don't. Have fun winning everything all the time by pressing one button. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it. You can drop your own thoughts or comments or suggestions of your own best arena teams in the comments down below. Leaving a like if you happen to enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.